Hi there, I'm Adam Kirbas, and this is my novel Life Choices. Anne Farrell was an average student. She's not very smart indeed, but she has some sort of a beauty. Her face is impeccable, her skin, her eyes. She's a beauty, she's a real beauty. And she's known in school for being a beauty, this gorgeous woman. And she gets a lot of appreciation for her beauty. She's known, her classmates appreciate her for being the most beautiful girl in school. However, Anne feels some way inferior because she has no womanly forms. She has no big boobs, she's rather flat-chested, and she has no broad hips. From behind, she looks like a boy, and she was even sometimes made fun of not being feminine enough, of not having these female curves everyone aspires, everyone looks at in women. You see on ads, you see in all kinds of ways, in stores, on television, wherever you have it, you see some sort of a real womanly forms which are being considered as beautiful in the society. And Anne competes with this image. She feels distressed by it, uncomfortable. Especially her mother, Mrs. Farrell. She is womanly. She's homely and womanly. She has these curves, she has big boobs, and Anne somehow does not seem to fit the image of her mother. They resemble each other, yes, but her mother and Anne got aware of it. Her mother attracts more gazes, and Mrs. Farrell knows that she's a beauty, and she enjoys the gazes of all others. But for Anne are the gazes of all others. It makes her uncomfortable because she cannot compete with her mother, because she feels that she was betrayed of something in her life. The gazes of all others seems to be as if they were gazing on her deficiency, that she is not woman enough. And Anne imagines man being thrilled and excited by women who are feminine, with broad hips. She sometimes imagines sexual intercourse where men are thrilled and excited to be around real women with broad hips and big boobs. And Anne heard some of the girls in school, when they mock men, when they mock adolescent boys who are in puberty, and some of them, and Anne saw it as well, got an erection when they talked to a girl, or when they saw a naked woman on a book. And Anne knew about this because she had sex education in class. Some of the boys would giggle, but others, and Anne could see it, had an erection. And she thought to herself whether she will ever be able to excite a man in such a way that he will get an erection. And in Anne's daydreams and imaginations, she always outcompetes her mother. She some sort of has an over edge over her mother. She tries to comfort herself. Maybe she may not be as beautiful or as womanly as her mother, but she imagines she has this appeal, this something people can't see of, or you don't get aware of immediately, but which is something for connoisseurs, for people who appreciate real beauty, whatever it is. And Anne imagines that either her voice, her appeal, her appearance would in a way or another excite a man so that he would get an erection when he is around her. Because Anne, whenever she would stand naked in front of the mirror, she would always keep comparing herself to her mother. And she saw a couple of times her mother naked, and the image has seared itself in her brain. She cannot flee it. She cannot escape it. Mrs. Farrell is indeed a gorgeous woman, and it hurts Anne that she can't compete with her. And it leads occasionally to some outbursts, to some quarrels between Anne and her mother. There are days, especially when Anne thinks or feels that she does not get enough attention from man. She detests her mother. She hates her because she thinks that women like her mother, they steal away the good guys. Because Anne thinks, because she has not this beauty, because she has not this physical excitements, because she has not this physical appeal, man need to look into women's hearts. And Anne is convinced of it, that she is somehow different. She is not superficial. This is how the impotent save themselves whenever they can't compete with others in a physical contest. They always go for the inner values. I am more than meets the eye. And Anne tries to soothe herself with this notion. It is true that she cannot compete with her mother sexually, but it is not true that she would not have sexual appeal, that she would not have this excitement, this thrill a man eventually will feel around her. And Anne is convinced that if a man would see her true nature, if someone would see how she truly is, then he would get excited by her and even get an erection. And in a way feels herself feels that she needs some sort of appreciation from the opposite sex, that she is worth an admiration, that she some sort of can occupy people's and boys and man's gazes, that she has sexual appeal. But it is revealed deep inside her. And because of this competition with her mother, Anne some sort of adopted character traits which make her, or should make her seem that she is down to earth, that she can be this girl from next door, this girl who can talk about baseball, the girl who is beautiful but still is tough, though, the girl who is not superficial, official, the girl who cares about the boy, and this all-American boy who is troubled, who has a difficult, dark past he cannot talk about. This all-American boy who is grudgy, who is some sort of has a thick skin, and people, especially superficial women, would not see through it. This is the appeal women like Anne try to gain, or the favor they would get for in surpassing all these superficial women. And Anne thinks that she would have more appeal to this all-American boy, the one who needs comfort, the one who needs understanding, this deep hurt soul who needs a woman who is not superficial but understands him, a heart of gold. And Anne imagines herself in her dreams, in her daydreams, how she would excite this boy, this all-American boy, this guy who has troubles, and understands him, would understand him, would talk to him, would have an open ear for him, and Anne would be patient with him, with this all-American boy, would listen to him, see his worries, see his true nature, and would give him comfort, and she would be paid for it. Paid, and she would be repaid for it with a great gift, with passion, with love, with unimaginable desire. This all-American man who happens to be a real man, who happens to have rough edges, but nevertheless is strong, is manly. And this manly man is excited and thrilled to be around Anne, is erected by her, feels an erection whenever Anne is around, wants to be with her, wants to kiss her, wants to show her to his friends who are rough in a way or another, but he, and this is sheer imagination of Anne, that he then tells to all his friends what a good girl Anne is, that she has a good heart, that she has a heart of gold. And this goes around so that all men would then come to their senses, and they would imagine or even abandon their superficial but womanly women, and then go for women who have a heart of gold, who are understandable, who know what they feel, and who see and are patient with the all-American boy. And these dreams, they are the sweetest for Anne. She lives for those dreams, and they give her great relief, because the competition with her mother wears her out. She has to face her every day. She has to look at her mother every day. Her broad hips, her big boobs, it drives her crazy. Mrs. Farrell is a real eye catcher. So it happened that Anne developed a character which is not only down to earth, or at least try to appear down to earth. She has, or shows herself deliberately to have a compassion for people who are not fortunate enough, at least not fortunate enough as Anne imagines that. And the unfortunate all-American boy looks gorgeous, looks manly, has a lot of muscles, is a real eye catcher, but has in a way a dark past, and only Anne seems to have a cure for it because of her inner values, because of how she is and how she is around this boy, so that she and only she can comfort him and give him a purpose. And Anne imagines all those superficial girls and women, wherever they might be, wherever they live, how they would some sort of abandon and go away, or some sort of do not take care about all these people, so that these superficial women, that they would even turn their backs to those who really need them. And her dreams get the more sweeter. This is the day dreams of many adolescents and later of many young adults who have not experienced life, who did not come across a lot of well-fed or well-being suitors, who did not experience life so far and live in all these imaginary scenarios. And those imaginary scenarios more and more became either templates for the real love they will one day meet, or will leave them in deep bitterness, and they will some sort of escape in a world, in a fantasy world, where they imagine a perfect scenario, a perfect being, where they would have imagined, where they would have perfect love, where they would have everything they crave and wanna be, and their self-indulgence would not have any end. So it happened that one day Jason, Biggs and Anne met. This was because compared to all her classmates, Anne as well did not have, or tried to not have any prejudice. This is against normal, common people. Anne is well off. Her parents are doing well. She's from the upper middle class and she attends a private school. But nevertheless, she tries to be around normal folks, at least those whom she thinks are normal, which she assumes that they would be normal. And Anne likes to be around them, show themselves with commoners. She dines at a place where she thinks normal commoners would frequent. It is the same diner. Frederick Malham's mother is working, and she always is there, looks there, eats there. She's all alone. Her attitude some sort of made her an outcast, because most of the young girls and young women in her age, they rather have other issues to follow. They have not really grasped the severe competition among women that they have to face every day, and they rather indulge in a period of younger life, in a period of childhood. So one day when Anne walks out the diner where Mrs. Malhelm is working, she comes across Jason Biggs. Jason Biggs was going through the trash because a lot of people throw away a lot of stuff. This happens quite frequently, especially at diners, and Jason Biggs goes through the trash of diners to find food. Sometimes Mrs. Mulhelm would give him leftovers, not knowing that Jason Biggs is actually acquainted with her son, Frederick. For Mrs. Mulhelm as well as for Anne, all these homeless people, they all look like the same. It's either the stench, it's either their dirty, ragged clothes. They do not really seem to have any faces at all. And Anne looks at them the same way. And when Anne saw Jason Biggs, she firstly was rebuffed. She thought to herself, dear, what's that? She smelled his stench, the stench of the street, and she did not feel comfortable around him. Jason Biggs wasn't appealing for her, and she sort of felt secluded, and Anne would have almost ran away, dash forward to the next stop, and then get into the subway and escape. This was her first intuition. But then she saw that Jason is not interested in her at all. Jason and many homeless people some sort of adapted to a notion that the world out there, a normal world which works from 7 to 5, that this world is far away beyond their perception, and they do not heed any attention to it. Then Jason found a stubborn cigarette. He did not find food, but a stubborn cigarette. It was halfway smoked through, and Jason is joyous, puts the cigarette stub in his mouth and starts smoking it. And Anne sees it, and she stopped there. She freezed. She thought to herself, and she remembered that in school, in order to bond with her classmates, they would always smoke together. This is something exciting. This is something thrilling, and she felt as if she would have to bond with Jason, say something to prove to herself that she is this unconventional woman, this down-to-earth woman from next door. And she offered Jason cigarettes. Jason was not sure what it meant, because Anne still is this clean, beautiful girl, young woman, teenager, who offers him a cigarette, this homeless, filthy person. Jason reluctantly took a cigarette, but he did not know what to make of it. He did not know what to say to her. He just said, thank you, as if it was forced. He did not know what's the etiquette for it. And Anne did not move along. So they stood there. An awkward moment ensued. And after a while, Anne asked him how he was doing. I mean, it was a stupid question indeed. You do not ask a homeless person who goes through the trash how he was actually doing. Well, it can't be good, obviously. However, Jason smiled and just said, I'm doing fine. No, a beautiful woman had talked to him for a while. He did not know any beautiful woman who ever talked to him. He still remembered his old girlfriend who abandoned him, and it had some sort of appeal to bond with Anne, to be around her, to talk with her, even though he did not know what to say. He was still reminded of the past. He still thought of her old girlfriend, and Anne, her appearance, her voice was some sort of the open door back to the world he abandoned, and he still, in a way or another, clinged on to. Maybe one day he thought on dire days, maybe one day I can go back there, maybe I can still open the door, still find the key somewhere, and then enter this home, this warm place I abandoned for the street. And Anne had this something. She had, in a way, appeal. This is true, but her voice, this high, was some sort of a halo of a world, of a bygone world. And Jason was embarrassed. He didn't know what to say. And Anne just kept talking like she would talk with everyone, with her classmates, or with an old friend she had not met for a couple of weeks, months, or even years. Are you around here very often? No, answered Jason. And he felt excited that someone wants to know more about him, that wants to get to know him. No, I'm not very around here, I'm just occasionally. And Jason some sort of became aware of his social stance. He saw himself, or through the eyes of Anne, or experienced him, or perceived himself as this homeless person, and felt ashamed. And he tried to cover it up. He tried to seem or give the impression that he is actually not homeless at all, that he does not live on the streets, but would have a home, would have a place to go. So this entire moment became, in a way, really embarrassing. But he imagined and hoped for that Anne would not mistake him for a homeless dude, because or else she wouldn't have talked with him. And he imagines that probably Anne thought of him as a normal, ordinary guy, and this is the reason why she talked to him. This is the reason why she started talking to him. And he wants to indulge in this notion a while longer, wants to make her believe that he is this ordinary guy you can talk to, you can ask random questions like, how you are doing? We haven't met each other for a while. But then the meeting, the talk, the dialogue stalled. Only a few words. Yeah, what you're doing. So it became some sort of forceful. And then Jason asked her whether she would be around here, would live around here, would go to school around here. And Anne agreed. She lives, she walks, she attends school near here. She lives around a little bit far away, not in this neighborhood. However, she likes to come here. She likes to dine here. She loves the food. She loves the people. Even though Anne never really socialized with the people. And after she always left the diner, she would rush home and take a bath because she fears that she would catch something. However, she likes to pretend that she would be this girl from next door, this down to earth girl. So she keeps or she tries to keep the conversation going, but it some sort of is stuck. But then after a while, after some awkward moments of silence, she starts talking about her school, about the people, about class. I mean, she's nervous. She doesn't know what she should say else. This is a stranger, and she feels embarrassed as well. She feels herself as stupid. You talked to a stranger you don't know anything about, and you do not even know whether this person thinks that you are stupid or just plain. Maybe he even thinks that Anne is stupid or that you are out of your mind. So it is not very clear, but Anne keeps talking. She wants to engage him further. She wants to find out who he is, what is it all about, but most importantly, she wants to find out whether she talks nonsense, whether she has appeal, whether she can some sort of grab the attention of someone, because she became pretty much aware that Jason is a homeless person, and she's thought to herself, well, this homeless person, even if he rejects me, so what? I can talk with him. I can some sort of practice on him. I can do whatever I want, and if he does not like my company, so be it. I would just turn around and walk away. What of it? So she talks about school. She talks about her teachers. She talks about her life, and she reveals many intimate information she would have actually never revealed to a person from her social stance, from her social circumstances, because this would be not only embarrassing or inappropriate, but it would be like you would drown someone with your own life. You would drown someone with your own being and your world views and your life problems, that it would all appear as if you like to talk about your self, that you would be egocentric, that you would only care about yourself and not about others. So normally Anne would not talk in that sense. She would not reveal too much of herself, firstly to be more secretive, but as well as not to appear as too arrogant and too self-centered. But with Jason, it was different in that sense. Jason actually had no life, or she felt it either in her heart or deeply, that she can actually talk to him, that she can say whatever she wants. He would not object, and that he cannot talk about the street, because she became aware in that sense that he feels embarrassed about his life, that he doesn't feel comfortable, that Anne some sort of caught him while he was going through the trash. And so she can talk about her lives. So she can be arrogant. She can be this girl who is down to earth, who talks to a homeless person, but yet who is still arrogant, or who still needs this certain amount of attention, who still needs to be the center of all attention. And Jason agreed. He nodded, and he liked that someone would actually talk to him. This is not very common. He felt like normal again. And Jason thought to himself, well, this is how it should have been. And this is what he have always missed on the streets all these years. That he did not get a face, that he was not given a face, and people would look at him as a random dude whom you have to ignore, from whom you have to escape and stand away far enough, or you could catch something, a disease or whatever you have. But Anne, and he likes to listen to Anne, hangs to every word. Her worries become his worries. He thinks of her life. He imagines some sort of his old life and tries to fit in Anne, and imagines his old classroom, his old classmates, and his life he abandoned. And there in class, he imagines Anne and him. They are leaving school and on their way somewhere to a diner. They talk about school. They talk about their worries. They do not think about the past and the future anymore. Just about the moment, about now, about all the worries and problems one could think of an adolescent would have. So no more cold, no more streets, no more hunger, no more starvation. Everything is gone. Everything is part of the past, and now only now and here. They walk together and they talk to each other as normal strangers. And Anne has been talking for almost 2 hours. Jason, he does not object. And Anne, she had so much to tell, and she could never talk about it. She could never talk about it in school, because all these social etiquettes and all these worries, how she should be perceived, they were always in her way. But with Jason, things were all different. With Jason, she could talk about herself. She could say whatever she wants. And this was such a great relief. And it helped her. And it helped her deeply. And she enjoys it. Talking about herself, doing something extraordinary, weird, and so on. And after 2 hours, she stops talking. She has been talking for almost 2 hours, and then she stops, looks at Jason. She does not remember whether Jason said anything. She does not remember whether Jason talked about his life. Did he say something? Did I miss something? Did he reveal something from his life and I missed it? I did not pay attention to it. And Anne is worried. She's worried. Again, this social etiquette hits her. She feels embarrassed. She talked only about herself and not about anyone else. She did not listen. And women supposed to be good listeners, because they have to see danger to their social mask, danger to their appeal. This is what counts in Anne's mind. This is what a woman should preserve dearly. This is her apple of her eye. So she feels uncomfortable, but Jason just smiles. And then Anne gets uncomfortable. What now? What is the social etiquette now? She has forced him to listen to him all this time. And now should she just turn around and walk away? Should she just abandon him, leave him to his own fate, no matter what he does? Or should she meet him again? And Anne some sort of feels this urge to be around Jason again. She wants him to listen to her. She wants him to share her life or the worries she goes through. She wants to be around him again. And then she asked him whether he would be around tomorrow again, because Anne needs time for herself to digest and process what went on in her, what went on in her mind, that she would share very intimate thoughts with a stranger, someone on the street. And she asked him whether he would be around tomorrow. Again, Jason nodded. And she thought to herself, yeah, he lives on the street. You probably have to tell him the exact time, because it must be freezing out there. She imagines or she hopes that Jason some sort of lives in a shelter which protects him against the winter cold. No, you cannot live outside here. You cannot live on the street like this. She's sure of it. So she tells him the exact time when she would again come to this diner and would have a meal. Maybe he can join her tomorrow. And again, Jason just nods. After an awkward moment when Anne doesn't know whether she should say goodbye or see you tomorrow, she just can utter a bye, and tomorrow we will meet again, as if it would be an order, as if she would order him that he should appear tomorrow again. They two separate.